So I've got some furring strips that I picked up at Home Depot, $2 a piece. They're 1x3, so they're actually 2.5 inches wide. So I'm figured I'll just make the trim and maybe paint it with the sealer primer, because I still got to put a redwood paint on the plywood. So I figured I'll use the generator and run the, do the cutting there. I had some trouble with the generator, but every piece of equipment I have, with the exception of the new snowblower so far, is I have to run them at half choke after a while. This I never had to run at half choke. Right now choke is open, but it surges and I have to put the choke down about halfway and then she's okay. Well, as long as it runs, I'm not going to worry about it, because everything I own that's got a gasoline engine in it always has to be run at half choke. So the snowblower, as a matter of fact, is going to, in time, will be that way too. I put that away. This is April 1st. I follow one thing every year. April 1st, I put all snow shovels away, snow blowers away, and everything. I've done that ever since I can remember. So we packed it all away in the shed. There it is. I use that turkey baster. I have one extra one here from the dollar store. That takes forever to get the gas out of this little tank, and I still couldn't get it all the way down the bottom. But when I tried to start it, I really couldn't start it. There's gas in a little bit of gas in the bottom of the tank, and I could still be there trying to suck that out with a damn turkey baster. It's so slow. But with this engine, you probably cannot see it. I'm trying to think where the carburetor is. I think it's over here. I don't know. I think it is on this side. Anyways, you have to drain it through the carburetor bowl, needle valve, and seat. So I only got a few drops out, and there's still gas in the tank. So, but the snowblower would not start anymore. So I know that it was out of gas. And I took the plug out of the, the bolt out of the carburetor, and drained a few drops of gas. So little that it wasn't even worth putting this underneath. These are terrible to drain gas out of. It's not like the old Tecumseh engine where you had the tank and you could reach underneath and you could pull the hose off and drain it with a funnel into the can. Not this thing. The hose for the gas tank is all hidden inside here, and you have to drain it through the carburetor, which is a total pain in the ass, and you're actually draining the gas through the needle valve and seat, which I don't really like to do. First of all, it takes forever to come out. So I got it mostly out, and you're wondering probably what this is. Well, I have the worst time. I got terrible eyesight. I can never see what is choke and what is run. So I put a tag on it. Run is this way. So I never know whether choke is this way or this way, because I can't read that little symbol right there. I have to get up there in a magnifying glass. So this way I marked. To choke it, knob pointed down. To run, lever to left. That's this lever here. So anyway, she's put away, and that's the story there. The generator seems to be running pretty good, but it does surge at times. Now, the gas is kind of old, but I do add fresh gas to it, and there is more stable in it, a little bit more than what they really call for. I think it's an ounce per gallon or something, or ounce per 2 gallons. Not sure exactly what it is now. This is what I use right here. I'd have to get my magnifying glass out to see, but I always add more stable than what they call for. Not a lot more, but maybe 50% more. What I'm going to do now, and it's not a real big project, this is just something I want to miter the edges for the window frames trim that's going around on the porch, and I'll show you what I want to do. Now, what I got on here now, and you've seen me do it on one of the videos, this is a primer sealer, oil base. What I want to do is to cut out the trims, put the miters on here, the 1x3s, which are actually 3/4 inch thick by 2.5 wide. It'll be perfect to fit into this groove here that goes all the way around. This groove here is just a hair over 3/4 of an inch thick, but this way you don't have this thing. See how this is sticking out, like, because it's made, I guess, to go onto vinyl siding. That's what I was told. So what I want to do is to make up the trim but not put it on, because I got to paint this redwood like this, and I've got an old gallon in the house that I used last year that's oil-based solid stain, and I'm going to use that on there. Stuff is like gold. It can't get oil-based anymore other than in primer like this, and this was a quart can. So that's what you need to do, so you don't damage the plywood. I caulked all this, as you have probably seen on a video, and what's going to go on here is the corner molding that's going to be made out of that 1x3 furring strip. On the front here it's the same way. I figure 1x3, which is 2.5 inches, so from this groove here where it fits up underneath here, it fits into here, it'll come down to about here, and it'll leave me about an inch from the top of this. But I don't want to put any of this on yet, because this part here, over here, is going to be painted redwood. This will stay white. From here up to the fascia board up there, it's going to be redwood. I got the sun in the lens, of course, but I'm going to try to put the camera on the other side, and I hope the camera continues to record. I got a Sony Class 10 in this Kodak ZE-1, but every once in a while I'll get an error saying the card is too slow. So obviously these cards are not Class 10. They are mismarked. I had a PNY that did the same thing in here, but the Sony was a little more reliable. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up, this is my mini handheld unit here that's going to act as a tripod. I'm going to hook up my cords to this and start cutting the miters on these now. We'll do a little video. We're not going to do anything long here. Now with doing this, it's going to be noisy over here a little bit, because I'm not that far away from the generator. I got to take careful measurements, and what I do is I got to make a miter over here somewhere. But I'm going to have to take a very careful measurement from here to here and add a little bit. You can always take off, you can't add, as I said so many times. So in other words, we got to make up 4 pieces that are going to fit in there, and then when I get them made up, I want to paint them, let them dry, and then put them up on another day. So we're going to take some measurements. We'll come back in a little bit here. All right. The windows required a 24-inch opening. I made the opening just a hair under that, so it comes out to actually 23 3/4. If you lay the tape right even here. Now I just drew an estimate and I cut it a little longer. This is where I gotta cut the angle, right here. So the angle's going to come this way. So we're going to do that now on the saw. We'll put the camera down here. Now what we've got is we should have 23 3/4 inches meter here. Now all four pieces should be the same length, and this is important because if you want to put the miter in here like that, you've got to be right on. So what I always do, I'm sure a carpenter wouldn't do this, is to shave it until it fits in. So I cut them a little longer, and when it comes time to put them together, if they don't fit together like this on all four corners, one or more of them has to be shortened. And of course they'll all be primed, so I'll have to prime the ends again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and put this up on the building here and see how she looks. Okay. That should go right up in there, and it's very hard to hold this camera and get that in there too, because if she's too short there's going to be problems. So what I'm going to do, go up on the stairs and see if I can do it on the other side. I really got to get on the ladder to do this anyway, so I'm just trying to avoid that because I'm not going to be putting these things up today. But you can see this is really designed for about 1 inch, but if you put a 1-inch piece, try to get a 1-inch piece of wood there, it's too narrow, but it's too wide for 3/4. Of course you got the screw heads and nail heads holding it out a little bit. But you can see there's a space there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. My concern is this top part here and down here at the bottom. Right there. Making sure that the miters go together. What I'll probably do in here is, rather than to shove these things in the shed, I've already got things to hold, you know, the snow stuff and the snow shovel and the big broom. I've already got this stuff in place here, so we can do that. We just got to remove the sand, because I'd have to put them somewhere, so they could just as easily stay out here. I only got one coat of primer on the inside as well, on where the plywood is, so I want to paint this inside white later on. Okay, I've got that piece, I don't know if you can see that, laying across the top up there. Now I'm going to have to get the stepladder out, because I need to know if the inside corners are going to come out even with this outside corner here on each side. That way I can be sure that the miters will go together good. And then I'll nail each piece separately up there after they're primed. And before I can put them up, I got to paint this part redwood. So we're going to go get the stepladder now, so I can make sure that that's going to be the proper length. If it's too short, while I bought extra wood, I'll make a little longer one, make 4 identical ones from the first pattern. Let's see, 4 for each window. Alright, well, they fit just even with the corners. the corner of the window inside, or the outside corner, goes right up against each one of these. So what I'm going to do is to make these 1 blade thickness longer. So I'll simply mark them out on the board and add 1 blade width longer on each one of them. This way I can be sure that the miters would go together. If we have problems getting the miter together, even then, I can wood rasp off a little bit on each of these corners so they'll fit up in there, but I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that. So let's get started in doing that right now. So what I'm going to do here is we'll flush these out here. We'll add approximately 1 blade width, which I'm going to say is about 1/8 inch, to each one of these. So in other words, what I'm going to do is to cut another one 1/8 inch longer than this, and I'm going to use that as a template to do all the rest. But I will still hang on to this because this could still be used in a situation where the angles got off a little bit. And no carpenter, as I said so many times, and a lot of my troubles when I do mitering, sometimes I've had the miters come out like this, where the corner sticks out a little bit, just the way things go together, and I have to wood rasp this corner off, this piece be sticking out. Years ago when I did my shed here, this is pine, I believe, not furring stirrup. This is furring stirrup. You can see it's not perfect, but this took a lot of cut and try to get it to go together. But it came out pretty damn good, but you can see I have to fill it in with caulking. So we're going to be working with these, and what we're going to do is we're going to get enough of them made so that naturally they get put on one at a time. Of course, you can't go over the window the way they are now because you got that lip, so they have to be lined up and put on one at a time. Now I could have just as easily have put a straight butt here instead of a miter. Might have been easier to work with and put it together. You know, I could have done one of these jobs, but I think it would look a little bit more professional if I did it with miters. Too long, so we're going to cut down on the line here. I'd say about 1/8 inch. We do shaving. That can get you the 1/16 that you need sometimes. Right on. This is my template, a TEMP I just marked on there. This is the one we're going with. They're all coming out the same length. So we got, let's see, 12 of these jobs to make here. Now, what I've always done, or tried to do anyways, when you cut a piece, because this is the template, you cut a piece and you mark it like I did here. Always cut the line off. In other words, no, leave the line. When you leave the line and cut on this side of the line. If you was to cut down the middle of the line, which is going to be about impossible for my eyesight, or to the right of the line, you're going to probably come up short. So leave the line and go right on this side of the line. To look, just shave the line. And that's what I've been doing, and they've been coming out good. I only got 5 of them made, so I got a long way to go. We're not going to videotape all this. It's repetitious. Not needed to do that. So we'll come back on video when I get all 12 of these jobs made up. Alright. Here's the line. So I cut it a little too far away from the line. But my eyesight's piss poor anyway, so... Here's the template, and we're about almost an 1/8 inch along here. We're going to do shave it so they just disappear on the line. You always want to cut it a little longer because you can trim it up, but don't fit in just right. That's the method to my madness. Your madness may differ. I've got 14 made up, counting the template and the one that was just even, which is this one. But they're so close that I'm gonna paint them all, and I'm bound to have some that'll miter together good, and that's important that they miter properly on the window frame when I get them in. Against the plastic window frame up there, and then I'll nail them in. And then if I have to trim these with the rasp or the saw here, I can retouch up the paint, the primer sealer. So what I'm going to do now off camera is I'm just going to take and sand the edges a little bit, not going to get fussy, and then get in my work clothes because I'm not in my painting clothes yet, and we're going to paint up all these. We'll have them ready to go. I got one more piece of furring strip. You can't get good wood at Home Depot, and this has got a bow in it, but they're only approximately 24 inches long, so when they get nailed down, they're all right. It's just that when they got a little bow in them, it's hard to get them right. And this has got a little seesawing this way. So this I didn't use. This will go in my lumber pile in the back over here. So that's it. That's it for this little unexpected project that I thought I'd take advantage of some nice weather for a change. I might even paint the redwood tomorrow after I get these things painted today, and then I can nail these things up there tomorrow too. Cross that bridge when I get to it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.